back.
We're at 11 laps to go right now. And Casey Stoner with just a great drive off of turn 11 using the top end horsepower of that Honda. But it was all Casey Stoner in the drive off the corner as Lorenzo wheelied ever so slightly alongside now has opened his advantage over Dovizioso to 1.3 seconds, solidifying his position in fourth. Dovizioso and Crutchlow separated by nothing. Brottle 2.7 seconds further back. Hayden a second behind Brottle. Gosh, Ben Spees is down and
that bike is in a bad place right now too, though they're pulling it out of the way as we speak. The whole back of the bike smashed down flat.
High-side crash sliding off to the gravel on the right.
His butt was kind of stuck to the seat there for a second.
Speed's sitting on the back tire as it slides off the track. He's already looking up the hill to who might be coming down behind him. One final tumble, and Ben Spees, just as he had solidified his position in fourth with about a second and a half lead over Dovizioso and Crutchlow, disaster strikes the Lone Star. The 22.1 to Lorenzo's 22.6. Pedrosa at 22.4. Lorenzo's going to have to watch a little as much behind him as he is in front for what he can do with Casey Stoner. They're going to come into a little bit of traffic now, something that we're seeing sort of for the first time.
There, but now he's gained back quite a bit. He doesn't look as far behind as our timing screen might indicate.
They're going to encounter a couple of riders on the entrance to turn. It's hard to say. One of them is Randy Espargaro. Not able to make any kind of a move. Hayden now a half second behind Brottle, and of course up to 7th position because of the exit of Ben Spees. They're calling and Espargaro, he is the top CRT bike right now on the number 41, Power Electronics Aspar bike. Running down the order for you, Stoner, Lorenzo, Pedrosa, that hasn't changed. Espargaro, the top CRT machine, in 10. Half second behind Brottle, and it's going to be a duel between those two. It's 3.5 seconds further forward to Dovizioso and Crutchlow. But not much more than that, barring any further attrition, perhaps. Dovizioso and Crutchlow, and the Italian rider getting the best of the intra-squad rivalry on the Tech 3 team right now.
Well, Dovizioso known for his smoothness, and I think that's going to really pay off here towards the final laps. We have 8 laps left. Here, we're going to pull for Nicky to be able to catch up to Brottle and give the fight back to the German.
It's 0.4 of a second. Lorenzo, or Stoner over Lorenzo. On the racetrack, 4 positions. Pedrosa, 1.6. Hayden's time was 22.8 to Brottle's 23.1. That's what caught him up.
Hayden really riding through too well. He's right on the side of the tire, wiggling around, but he's able to gain a little ground through the middle of the corner. Pretty evenly matched here through 4. On the way down to 5, it looks like Brattle might even pull just a bit on the Ducati, which is something to be impressed with, the satellite Honda pulling the factory Ducati there. But remember, we had Lorenzo with 0.8, and then it went 0.5, and then it went 0.0. So Lorenzo can rebound. He's not too far out of touch.
You've got the reigning world champion and the world championship leader dueling at the front of this MotoGP race here. The gap 0.7 now. Lorenzo This one isn't over yet. Casey Stoner is running as hard as he can to try the World Championship points leader. Stoner third in the championship and back by just under 40 points. He's not going to gain but 5 points here. Should the race end right now, Stoner would gain an additional 5 points. He would also gain 3 points. In second right now, and Casey Stoner trails him by 18.
Oh.
Stoner's got a little bit more in the bag. That time through 2.
Still 0.7. Still 0.7 of a second. Stoner over Lorenzo, kind of seesawing from 0.7 to 0.8. And it hasn't gotten any bigger than that. He has moved up into 6th position. We didn't see it happen, but it's on timing and scoring. They came across the start-finish line in inverse order. So Hayden up to 6th, 0.2 of a second ahead of Stefan Brattle. That was bound to have been a pass down in turn 11. Stoner over Lorenzo. Stands it up, using all the track as they help him. This time around. 5 seconds now, so it indeed not only looks like the biggest lead, it is the biggest lead of the race by Casey Stoner over Jorge Lorenzo. A 21.9 for Casey Stoner. Kentucky kid has caught the German rider on that LCR Honda. Down to see if he can edge away. He's 4.5 seconds behind Cal Crutchlow, so it's not likely that Hayden will gain any more positions here unless he gets some help from the riders in front of him.
Yeah, well, Hayden with a good effort, though, at this point, because running in 9th and 10th early on in the race, that sounds a lot better to have a 6th place finish. And he's a spot ahead of his teammate, Valentino Rossi.
Replay coming down the hill, those of you that haven't. Down there at, what Ducati and Rainy Kerr. Now we've got the Tech 3 Yamahas battling for position. Separated by nothing.
Definitely doesn't want to get beat once again by Andrea Dovizioso. I mean, he has a lot of pride. He's the only British rider in the MotoGP class, and he's got everyone at home, I'm sure, cheering him on.
Ninth place, Alvaro Bautista crosses the line 10 seconds behind Valentino Rossi. 10th place, Aleix Espargaro, top CRT rider, is the next one to cross the start-finish line. Colin Edwards running in 14th spot, just a position ahead of Ivan Silva. And there are 15 riders left on the racetrack, 15 point-scoring positions.
Evenly matched, even lines, everything just about the same with the two Tech 3 riders.
And Valentino Rossi down. Valentino Rossi down and out of the race, walking through the gravel. His effort to hold down 8th position has written off the track as high on this surface, as high on this facility as you can get. He's walking rather dejectedly. He's up and fine. He's okay, no problem. Oh, on the entrance.
Yeah, that was quite a way to race.
Big ride. Did the big Watusi through the gravel. Rossi just slid in there kind of easy. 2 laps to go. 1.6 seconds advantage for Casey Stoner. Another beautiful performance by the reigning world champion here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Here we come with 1 lap to go. A distant third at 3.8 further seconds back. Dovizioso and Crutchlow continuing their battle. That's going to go. No question about it. 0.3 of a second separating the two. He'll gain points on his nearest championship rival, Danny Pedrosa. He'll lose 5 points to third-place championship rival Casey Stoner. And, of course, that battle will continue at Indianapolis, the second of the U.S. rounds in MotoGP coming up in a few weeks. Beautiful job by Casey Stoner. Hayden solid in 6th position right now with a 1.2 second advantage over Brottle. He's just got to bring that number 69 Ducati home. And here we come down the hill for the final time. Casey Stoner on the Repsol Honda, wearing the #1 of world champion here, a title he earned twice after winning at Mazda Raceway. And he wins at Mazda Raceway today, leading laps and showing the world that he deserves to be the championship leader.
Yeah, great performance by Casey Stoner. Stays the same, Dovizioso once again over Crutchlow by just a few.
Finish line, Nicky Hayden, happy to be a little bit lonely in 6th position. And Nicky Hayden can be proud of having finished in 6th spot. Once again, the top Ducati rider in a MotoGP event here, and it's at his home track. One of his 2 home tracks. He considers MGP a little Brottle in 7th. Alvaro Bautista on the number 19 machine. That's the San Carlo Honda Gresini. And then it's going to be Aleix Espargaro, who will earn 9th place as the top CRT rider over Carroll Abraham. And what a race. Well, I'm heading for the victory podium, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure so far. We'll see you back here in a little while for National Guard American Superbike.
Well, Casey Stoner riding up through turn 6 area there. Jorge Lorenzo coming through the corkscrew. Give him a wave, guys. Awesome performance by all the riders out there on the most incredible bikes we've seen. Just an amazing display of talent all the way back through the field. But Casey Stoner, the very best today, did a fantastic job of reeling in Jorge Lorenzo, making a nice clean pass and pulling away to a small margin, but it was enough for another MotoGP win for Casey Stoner.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think all of us were waiting for Lorenzo to pull the pin on that grenade and really, throw it down, which, he's got the potential to do. But you don't know if it's just, I guess you could say Stoner having a little too much for him, or maybe him being a little bit beat up from his get-off earlier today. Who knows? But definitely Stoner showing the class of the field. Pedrosa looked like he was throwing everything out of the kitchen sink. Didn't seem to have it today.
Yeah, and Casey wasn't really that happy in practice and qualifying. He felt he had more in the bike, and they weren't entirely happy with the setup. Nicky Hayden bringing back Valentino Rossi on the back of Nicky's Ducati. Nice job, Nicky. Unfortunate for Valentino, but Valentino, fan favorite, and one of the best in the world, is going to rebound from this, no problem.
I think one of the pleasures to watch, though, is still that second group headed up by Cal Crutchlow, Andre Dovizioso and Cal Crutchlow. Those guys have really, they've done the Tectois team proud. I mean, they've just been consistent, always there, especially Dovizioso the last couple of races. It's been wonderful to watch.
Well, yeah, and it was weird the way Ben Spies felt, because he spelled it in a fairly, an area where the bike wasn't leaned all the way. He was coming out of the corkscrew, heading down to the right, and the thing let loose in the back and just sort of spun out from underneath him. But Ben was working really hard, really, to stay in front of those two Tech 3 bikes, and he wants to beat those guys if he can. But you can't take anything away from Dovizioso and Crutchlow. They rode a great race. And hey, let's give it up to Stefan Bradl too. Here's a guy who's never been here before. He decides, I'm going to take a track day to figure out this course. And that takes some initiative and some planning and flying all the way to America to come here and ride this track, on a street bike. So a 7th place finish in your first Grand Prix at Mazda Raceway, not a bad result.
No, he was definitely taking this serious. He was up for the challenge, and he's making a statement that he's somebody to be watching in the future. If not 2012, 2013 can definitely be that young rider's year.
Well, his dad, Helmut Bradl, was one of the greatest 250 riders ever. I spent many, many years watching him race his... we got a replay on Rossi now. He lost the bike on the brakes early on coming into the corkscrew. So Valentino having one of those days I'm sure he'd like to forget. But he'll be back for more. But going back to Bradl, his dad comes from a huge amount of Grand Prix experience. So definitely the genes transfer down to the son, and Sonny Boy's got it.
Yeah, if that's any indicator. I mean, look at Rossi's dad was a 250 world champ as well. So they both have very similar potential parallels as far as career goes. But we didn't get an actually good shot of Rossi going down. We saw him kind of after the fact, but it looks like it was just, as you said, early on the brakes, right around that cresting hill before dropping down the corkscrew. Ben Spies going over some kind of a review of what happened there with Woody as crew chief. We're showing the footage again.
It almost looks like it might have bottomed out as he came down the hill. It's hard for us to see from television. We're the peanut gallery here just watching. So if we're wrong, guys, I'm sorry. But it looks almost like he hit a little bump and it just shot out from underneath him. Very strange crash. I'm sure Ben is like, what just happened to me? I have no idea why that happened, but at least he's okay.
It almost looks from the footage we got there as though it bottomed out, like you said, Rich, and then unloaded, and therefore just minimal adhesion. There was just nothing to grab onto.
Yeah, Ben's shrugging his shoulders. He doesn't know either. So sorry, Ben. Great ride anyway, buddy. Keep it up. Keep the pressure on, man. You got it. Just keep on pushing, and the results are going to be there. Unfortunate today, but like I said, racer thinks about the future now. This race is over. We're going to celebrate it, but we're going to move on, and Spees is going to go ahead with the next round and just push just like normal.
Now we start approaching the silly season. Everybody's speculating as to what's going on. It's been obvious that Ben Spies is vacating his spot at Yamaha. Everybody wants that spot.
Yeah, it's hard to say. We don't have any inside information. Just what we read, and we hear pit gossip, I guess you'd call it. And pit gossip is just that. It's not really worth a hill of beans until you sign on the contract dotted line. But yeah, you know, Rossi has some options, what he'd like to do, but he may very well stay at Ducati. Ben may very well be going to BMW World Superbike team. We don't know for sure, but some of the press journalists have thrown that possibility out there. So it makes for a great discussion, who goes where and when, but I think a lot of it's going to depend on what Valentino Rossi does, because once Rossi picks his next year, where he wants to see his direction, his team go, where he wants to work, what kind of bike he wants to ride, with what crew, and that's important for Valentino. He likes to take his crew with him.
That's, Jeremy Burgess and him are attached at the hip. It's been...
I think that's what's really going to start the dominoes falling, and then guys like Crutchlow and Dovizioso, they're going to find their way, and so on and so forth down through the kind of pecking order that there is in all forms of sport, but especially so in World Championship racing.
Well, I think it's also been it's been very gratifying, I'm sure, for Andrea Dovizioso to be on the Tech Squad team and show the people that he still has the chops after his not so pleasant departure from Honda. And right now, that team is looking stronger than I've ever seen it look.
Yeah, they look great, and I'm sure they would like to keep the guys there if they can. So, but you know, sometimes the satellite teams are kind of designed to create the factory team riders. In the case of Marc Marquez, he's going right to the factory slot, which is unusual because there was a rookie rule when Ben Spies was involved. So that was a little controversial, but you know, it all works out in the end, and when you're really good, you wind up on the best bike, and that's just the way it is in racing.
And that Marc Marquez decision with Honda, I mean, let's face it, that's definitely showing that that's where the company is not looking to this season. They're looking 2-3 seasons down the road of developing this rider, which is something that we haven't seen in a while. That in the stateside, people want somebody who's ready to rock and roll, and it's nice to see that they're doing that. They're looking down the road with this.
And for all you fans out there thinking that the action is over, don't forget, Superbike race is coming up after our celebration here and our press conference and the end of the race ceremony. So don't go anywhere. The best American Superbike riders are going to come out there with some guests from overseas, and it's going to be a fantastic battle as well. Everyone trying to knock Josh Hayes off the top spot. So stick around, go get something to drink, something to eat, and then come on back because we've got one more big show for you today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Red Bull U.S. Grand Prix podium ceremony. Our third place finisher, Repsol Honda, Danny Pedrosa. Our runner-up, Factory Yamaha, Jorge Lorenzo. Our winner, Repsol Honda, Australia, Casey Stoner. Presenting the Constructors' Trophy to Andrea Brunetti will be Marvin Musca, Red Bull athlete, motocross, supercross, soon to make his home in America. And the third place trophy to Danny Pedrosa. And the third place trophy to Danny Pedrosa, Repsol Honda. Mr. Robert Razor, Vice President of the FIM, will hand over the second place trophy to Jorge Lorenzo, Yamaha Factory Racing. And the winner's trophy to Casey Stoner, Repsol Honda. You can do better than that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Australia. Once again, Casey Stoner, Jorge Lorenzo, Danny Pedrosa are winners of the Red Bull U.S. Grand Prix. Now stick around, we've still got more racing for you here this afternoon at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. The AMA Pro Racing National Guard American Superbike coming up next.